Once again, welcome to Magnificat TV News, dedicated to offering the news of the Church. Today is Wednesday, July 13, 2022, and these are our highlights. The Pope has again categorically condemned abortion in an interview with the Rare News Agency, has denied that he has any intentions of resigning. The Bishop of Escuintla in Guatemala has denounced that the increase of violence is related to the deterioration of the family and has asked for solution to this. Cardinal Marx has asked that women be ordained deaconesses as soon as possible. A Catholic Women Association has replied. The European Parliament has approved with a two-thirds majority considering abortion as a fundamental human right. U.S. President Biden has signed a federal law guaranteeing some abortion rights measures across the country. Pope Francis denies that he intends to resign and denies rumors that he is ill with cancer. In addition, he has once again harshly condemned abortion. The Pope has given a long interview to a Reuters news agency in which he answered questions about abortion, about his desire to mediate in the war in Ukraine, and about his possible resignation. Francis flatly denied rumors that have circulated about his resignation. Never crossed my mind. Not for the moment. Not for the moment. Really. He said that such a resignation could occur in the event that his health makes it impossible for him to continue in his ministry. But when asked when it may happen, he replied, "We don't know. God will tell." He went on to give details about the condition of his knee, saying he suffered a small fracture when he took a false step while ligament was inflamed. "I'm fine. I'm getting better little by little," he added, explaining that the fracture is healing, aided by lasers and magnet therapy. He denied rumors that he had been diagnosed with cancer a year ago when he underwent a 6-hour operation to remove part of his colon due to discosticialis, a common ailment in old people. The operation was a great success, the Pope said, adding with a smile on his face that they told me nothing about the alleged cancer, which he dismissed as court gossip. He added that he does not want to have knee surgery because the general anesthesia from last year's operation had had negative side effects. "I would like to go to Ukraine and first to Moscow. It is possible that after my return from Canada, I may go to Ukraine. The first thing is to go to Russia to try to help in some way, but I would like to go to both capitals," he said. Finally, the Pope spoke about the U.S. Supreme Court decision overturning the landmark Roe v. Wade ruling that established a woman's right to abortion. Francis said he respects the decision and at the same time strongly condemns abortion, comparing it to hiring a hitman. The Pope was also to comment on the ongoing debate in the United States over whether Catholic politicians who approve abortion laws can receive communion. When the Church loses her pastoral nature, when a bishop loses his pastoral nature, this causes a politician problem, the Pope commented. Monsignor Palma, Bishop of Escuintla in Guatemala, has linked the increase of violence with the deterioration of the family and has asked politicians to solve it. The Bishop of Guatemala, Diocese of Escuintla, Monsignor Victor Hugo Palma Paul, sent a pastoral message to the diocesan community and society on the occasion of the conclusion of the Year of the Family 2021-2022, dedicated to reflect on the increase in crime and violence in his diocesan territory. Monsignor Palma laments the increase in criminal violence in our department. We are the second department by number of registered cases and one of those that provide the least solutions in this regard. It is a claim that not only concerns individuals but especially families. To solve the problem, Monsignor Palma asks criminals to convert and police authorities to take the necessary measure. He also laments the corruption that links many of them to drug trafficking networks. It is important to remember, the prelate adds, that criminology is the guaranteed result of broken and violent families. The family is attacked by threats such as abortion, but also by insecurity, poverty caused by immigration, and by anti-family models promoted by televisions and movies. In addition, the bishop invites us to avoid two temptations, that of doing justice on our own because it can provoke irreparable mistakes, and the of desiring a security policy that gives support the political parties the purpose and iron first, because, in the end, the remedy can be worse than the disease. Cardinal Marx has asked that the ordination of women as deaconesses be accepted as soon as possible. A women's association has called for an action against him. The Cardinal Archbishop of Munich has called for women to be admitted to the sacrament of the Holy Orders at the diaconate level. The Maria 1.0 initiative, created by German lay women faithful to the magisterium of the Church, has replied to the Cardinal and has begged the Pope to take firm stand and intervene. Last Sunday, the Cardinal came out in favor of the diaconate for women. I believe that the time has come, that it should and must be open to both men and women, he said at the religious service in Munich. Clara Stenkenberg, the spokeswoman for the Maria 1.0 initiatives, is skeptical about the statements of the Archbishop of an association of women faithful to the Church. We would like the Holy Father to stand firm, as the Cardinal of Munich has gone too far in questioning the valid magisterium, she said. The Cardinal's recent statements do nothing but raise expectations that may not be fulfilled, he added. This leads to more disappointment and wounds, he added. We lay people are very surprised by the clericalism of Cardinal Marx. We suggest with these statements that women only have equal rights in the Church through an ordained ministry. In the same vein, German priest Peter Kusen, well known for his position on social issues, especially in the field of labor, has expressed himself. He said he is angry and impotent with the situation of the Church in his country and sees a denial of reality in the Vatican. Their argument in Rome is that we have to be careful that there is no schism in the Church because there are parts of the German Church that are getting too far ahead of themselves, but division in the Church between Church leaders and Church people has long been allowed to happen, and not only in Germany, but in quite a few countries. Nowadays, many people are getting desperate with the Church, even people who have always participated as something natural. I doubt very much that the Church will get through without a big shock. For a long time, I believed that was capable of reforming himself again and again. I have lost the certainty, he said. Europe is moving towards demographic suicide because there are no children, and yet it is determined to consider abortion as a fundamental human right. In a resolution passed with 324 votes in favor, 155 against, and 38 abstains, the European Parliament has called for the right to abortion to be included in the Charter of Fundamental Rights of the European Union, adding that everyone has the right to a safe and legal abortion. The House expresses its solidarity and support to women and girls in the United States, except the unborn, as well as those who collaborate in both providing and defending the right and access to safe and legal abortion care in the current circumstances. Members of the European Parliament called on member states to decriminalize abortion. Without mentioning it, they referred to Poland, which has the most restricted abortion legislation in the entire European Union. U.S. President Joe Biden, who presents himself as a devout Catholic, has signed an executive order to protect access to abortion. Biden's decision is part of a rapid reaction from a sector of the U.S. society, buffeted by the Supreme Court's overturning of Roe v. Wade. The court recognized that abortion is not a constitutional right and that its regulation must be voted on by state legislators. The Catholic Biden in the White House briefing note attempts to justify his decision in safeguarding access to reproductive health service, including abortion and contraception. At a press conference prior to the signing, Biden, the second Catholic president in the U.S. history, said this was the time to restore the right that had been taken from us. This is not an imaginary horror. It is already happening. The U.S. president further noted that it is important to protect our nation from the extremist agenda. The order urges the Department of Health to take steps to ensure access to abortion medication, seeks to increase protections for health care providers who perform these practices under the Emergency Medical Treatment and Labor Act, as well as patient privacy, and strengthen awareness campaigns in public facilities. Biden has acknowledged that he can do nothing to restore nationwide abortion rights in the wake of the Supreme Court ruling, so he has called on citizens in the November elections to elect members of Congress who have come out in favor of upholding federal laws they shielded. Our editorial this week is dedicated to commenting on the latest news on abortion and on the evolution of the crisis in Germany. It is summer, and in summer there is usually not much news, and it is better that way because when there is important news, it is usually bad news, and that's why the previous ones are still being discussed. For example, abortion. The European Parliament has approved, with no less than two-thirds of the votes, that abortion should be considered a human right, which is terrible. This shows how the situation is in the whole continent. In view of this result, there are many politicians and the citizens who support them with their votes, who seem determined to commit suicide to their own countries, to commit suicide, especially because in Europe, at least in most of the countries, the birth rate is very low, so low that it's not easy to reach by far the rate of maintenance of the population, and that if they maintain to keep due to immigration, well, that's all right. For them, the solution is to kill the innocent. It is the culture of death of which St. John Paul II spoke, to solve problems by killing. Well, we have to see that 1/3 of the European politicians, that is to say, 1/3 of Europeans are in favor of life. Therefore, all is not lost. And this third that is in favor of life is becoming more and more enthusiastic. The ruling of the United States Supreme Court against abortion being considered a right has raised the spirits, and proof of these are the recent pro-life demonstrations, more numerous than ever in Ireland, for example, or in Spain. Those who are in favor of death to solve the problems are already spiritually dead. They do not know it, but the future is not theirs. It is not theirs because destruction cannot build anything. It only knows how to raise and destroy it. Another topic has been one more of the interviews made to Pope Francis. In this case, it has been made by the journalists of the Royalist Agency, and they asked the Pope again, among other things, about abortion. The Pope has been very clear about it. He had said that he does not want to pronounce on the sentence of the North American Supreme Court, which has not done the European Parliament, which has condemned this sentence, making an act of interference in another country, in this case in the United States. The Pope has said that he does not want to pronounce himself, but that he considers abortion something abominable, and he has compared the women who go to the abortion parlors and those who help them. He has compared them to people who hire a hitman and kill an enemy, a rival. It is a comparison that he has already made other times. It is a very hard comparison. The abortionist, the doctor who performs the abortion, is the cruelest, the most despicable criminal, according to the Pope, because he has compared him to a hitman, someone who kills on request. I am sure that neither the abortionists, nor those who perform abortions like it, nor the companies that lives from the business of the death of the innocent, I am sure that they did not like that at all. But it was also news, in this interview, the issue of whether or not the bishop can deny communion to an abortionist politician. The Pope said that the bishop must never cease to be a shepherd. Well, this response of the Pope has been interpreted generally as a criticism to the Archbishop of San Francisco, Monsignor Cordileone, because he has denied the possibility to communion to Nancy Pelosi, the Democratic Party Speaker of the U.S. Congress, who confesses to being a practicing Catholic and who recently received communion at the Vatican even on St. Peter and Paul's Day. I do not see why this is a criticism of Monsignor Cordileone. Perhaps I am very naive. But the Pope has said that the bishop must always be a good shepherd. Of course, that is what Monsignor Cordileone has done. He has been a good shepherd. He has warned this lady who confesses to be a good Catholic. He has warned her of the seriousness of her acts, and he has let her know that she has to convert, and she has to reject the evil she is doing. That is what a good shepherd does. The good shepherd does not accompany the sheep to the precipice to see how they throw themselves into it or even push them. The good shepherd tries that the sheep does not throw themselves into the abyss. That is what Monsignor Cordileone has done. That is why I do not see why the words of the Pope are necessarily a criticism to a good shepherd as Monsignor Cordileone is. Another topic that is inevitably always present is that of the Germany. Well, Cardinal Marx, Archbishop of Munich. one of the Pope's main advisors, has said that deaconesses must be approved, as if they know all that this is a trick, a stratagem to later approve the female priesthood. First, they said that the deaconesses have nothing to do with the sacrament of holy orders and that they are auxiliary in the work of the priests, as can be the acolytes, or in this case, the female acolytes. Well, but once the deaconesses are ordained, the same ones, the same people who are now saying that it has nothing to do with the sacrament of the holy orders, or would say that it indeed has to do with the sacrament of the holy orders, that it has 3 stages, the first of which precisely the diaconate. The same thing I said last week. They think we are fools and that we do not realize what they are trying to do. Of course, Cardinal Mark has been replied by an association of Catholic women, Maria 1.0, which has rejected what he's asking for and has also asked the Pope to intervene. More and more voices from Germany are speaking out in favor of a quick and urgent intervention by the Pope as soon as possible to prevent this from going any further. This week, a well-known priest has expressed his discomfort, his anger, he said. He's angered at the passivity of the Vatican and has said that for a long time now it is being allowed in Germany and in other countries that the division of the Church is being increased and is taking place. I really liked a pastoral letter this week. I don't usually talk about pastoral letters of bishops, but I especially like this one. It is the pastoral letter of the Bishop of Escuintla in Guatemala, Monsignor Palma. The increase of delinquency in Guatemala, unfortunately, is tremendous. It is more and more dangerous according to the indexes and according to what this bishop denounces. But he has not been satisfied with denouncing the increase in crime, which is what bishops who are barely politically correct generally do and who say what they are expecting to say and who are generally not listened to by anyone and their words are little use, if any use at all. Monsignor Palma has said that it is good that we must condemn the increase in crime, of course. I do not think that anyone will say that he thinks the increase in crime is good. But we must go to the roots, and the root is the destruction of the family. That is the cause. When the family does not exist, the person remains at the mercy of so many influences that come from outside, of so many stimuli towards evil, and very few stimuli towards good, and they follow again and again into that which ends up destroying themselves. A destroyed family generates all that is bad in society. That is why, if politicians were really responsible and interested in the good of their people, they will have to put the maximum concern in helping the family to be instructed and stable. A stable family is a guarantee of healthy people and a guarantee of a future in which one can be in peace and prosperity. That is the root. I cannot understand how they think it is wrong to shoot a person, which is indeed wrong. And it is not wrong to kill an innocent human being in its mother's womb. But if it is a human being, it is a person. It is not a legal person because it has not been born, but it is a person. It is a human being. Is there right to kill an innocent human being who has done absolutely nothing wrong and consider that death a human right? Is that right? And on the other hand, it is wrong to kill someone who steals his wallet or to make an act of revenge. This logic is absurd. That is to say, this approach is illogical. To accept abortion, to legalize abortion, to consider it a right, it's open the door to all the disaster to follow, because nothing can be as terrible and serious as killing an innocent person who has not even had the opportunity to be born. As always, let us pray. Until next week, God willing. If you wish to be up to date about what is happening in the church, you can follow us on our news page, www.magnificat.tv. See you in 2 weeks, God willing.